All right. We are live once again. This is Josiah and each one teach one session. This morning, I was actually waiting for to interview a gentleman, a developer who works outside the United States. Yesterday, we had the interview with Emmanuel Amako from Ghana, who lives in Poland, and he was able to explain to us the need for us to make the change to move from one career to another. He studied or in the field of arts, but now he's working in the knowledge-based industry, and he was able to tell us that he did that because he understood the importance of cutting over to the technology sphere. And he made that necessary change because he realized that not only will he provide for himself and his family, he can also help to build other people. So he told us that he invested in himself. He taught himself most of the stuff that he knew, and he used the time to acquire all these skill sets, and he worked with other people and learned from other people. As a matter of fact, he said the curve is a continuous learning process. And one of the reasons why we got involved in promoting the mentor mentee, bridging the gap between the mentor and mentee relationship is these: to be able to encourage the youth to teach themselves, to formulate teams or groups where they can learn, to create hubs and centers of technology where individuals can do for themselves with their heads instead of waiting for somebody else to do for them or waiting for their government to do anything for them. So the private sectors have that responsibility to get involved, and more especially the diaspora, the group that are outside the continent or outside most of the emerging markets, to be precise. These are the ones that will start looking for opportunities and solutions where the need is, so they can go in there and take care of that. While I talk to you about the need to do that, I'm still waiting for the gentleman to interview today, Emmy Steven. Hopefully, he will show up. If he doesn't show up, we have an opening to take questions. If there's anybody out there that wanted to send a comment to me, anybody who wants to come in to the backstage, and you can get to the backstage here. If you have an email, I can send you the link, or you can take it on the comment section. You can take this link. I can post the link in the comment section here, and you can just give me a second. It seems like the person I was supposed to be interviewing is calling now. Hello? Yes, are you ready? Okay.
Down here isn't that super great. Hello? I can't hear you.
All right, this is Emmy Steven. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, you can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you
All
loud
right,
and clear.
we. All right, let's pass it on to you. We're gonna interview you, and we're gonna go through the process. Welcome, Emmy Stevens. Tell
Yeah,
us a little bit
thank
about
you.
yourself.
Okay, I'm Emmy by name. I'm a software engineer, a full stack software engineer, but with a strong preference for the back end. And why is that? Is because back here or down here in Nigeria, when you are being employed as, let's say, a back-end engineer, you still be expected to do a little bit of work at the front end. And sometimes, even when you're employed as a front-end engineer, you still have to do a little bit of work at the back end. So there seems to not be too much different, especially with startups, between the back end and the front end side. So I started way back in school. I've always had this flair for computers. When I just see computers, I just like kind of like take a look at them after a while, then I just pass. So when I got into university, I had to like fire up my dad to get me a laptop. So, but the funny thing is that most of the things I learned most of them not having a computer to work with. So what happened was that all my friends that had computer, I was just on their neck. From time to time, I would just be disturbing them. So while some I would even borrow their phones, and in the nights, I used to go to W3 schools. Yeah, and that is how it all started. And then when I had my own personal PC, it was just from one level to another level, from one level to another level.
That's awesome. That's very great. So pretty much you went through you had a very great love for your computers and you went into it and you are doing very well and you have a lot of skills. Okay. What kind of experience do you have on the ground right now? What is your
Okay.
experience with the company you work for, and what can you tell the viewers that your experience had been while you work with tech companies in Nigeria?
Okay. I'm not working like for a company now, but I'm volunteering for an organization. So I'm volunteering as their software engineer, right? So primarily my stack is JavaScript, both at the front end and at the back end. So what I'm doing for them now is just an in-house app, web app actually, that helps them to get to track their members, their birthday and their wedding anniversaries. Yeah. So basically that's just
Okay,
what it
that's
is.
that's that's awesome. That's awesome. So, what challenges are you facing? I understand you're volunteering your time, which is very good. So you
Yeah.
shows that you are selfless and you help other people, and we need a lot more you to do the same. So, what are the challenges
Yeah.
you're facing there while you work with the different groups in your volunteer post?
Okay. Before I left where I was working and then started volunteering and then started working remotely too, because I still get some remote offers here and there. But before I started volunteering for this organization, where I was working before all that, I found out that it was kind of like a startup company, but it had this global touch to it. And um, sorry,
Yeah, I can hear you.
yeah, sorry, my all right. So,
Yes, I can hear
hello,
you loud
can you
and
hear me?
clear.
All right. I discovered that a lot of startup companies down here in Nigeria, because of the need to just scale up real fast. So when they pitch clients, they get to make promises that, humanly speaking, is not possible. And sometimes they are so pressed for cash that they employ a software engineer and expect you to do the work of five people. And apart from all that, and apart from the pay, when the employer get you to do and expect you to do all that, the time frame is usually too short to like meet up with the targets that they've given the client. And sometimes when they ask you for your own expert advice, like how many months do you think this will take us to like achieve? And sometimes you tell them that we need more hands. And even with a team of 10 to 15 or 20 software engineers, because of the processes that needs to go through this, it will take like 3 months looking at the size of the project and be like, CEO will tell you, no, we can't take 3 months. Yeah, we're giving you a month. And you'll be like, yeah, you just have to comply. You just say, yes, I've had you. And then at the end of the day, we all end up at the 3 month. So that's basically one of the main challenge, unreasonable timelines, expecting you to perform magic and stuff like that. Sometimes you are being employed as something, and then you start doing the work of something, like doing the job description of something else. A perfect example is being employed as a back-end engineer, and at the same time you are being tilted towards doing the work of a front-end engineer, and that could be really messy.
Yeah, that's a message you're sending out there to the HR human resources. It's the same thing all over the world. When they hire you as an admin guy, they want you to be a dev, setup, admin, developer, architecture, solution, security, all of that. They want you to do all of that. So that's a big challenge all across the board, not only where you are. So we see that happening here. Most of the time, the HR don't know how to ascertain what they're doing in the description. However, moving forward, we
Yeah.
now aware that we have the same. There's a commonality where in the challenges that you face. That's very encouraging. When did you? How long have you been doing this? I forgot to ask that at the beginning. And where did you go to school?
Yeah, I went to Caritas University, Amojinike, Enugu State. So I started way back when I was in school. So I had a guy that was my mentor. I actually had two mentors, but later I just started following one because he had connection with the school IT department. So and that would give me a lot of experience. So I started with PHP. So at some point we started configuring or working on our school e-library, and we are working on our school e-library, setting up the e-library. So we are the first set of guys to work on it because we are preparing for accreditation, and that was very, very taxing because sometimes we go and work, we'll come back and stuff like that. Then after that, he graduated, so I took up the position he left. So I was the assistant support admin officer for my school, and then yeah, going then after that I started doing projects for computer science students. I studied elect, by the way. So I was doing web projects for computer science students. And yeah, then after school, that was the next thing is service. I had issues with my system. So I went for, let's say, I went for a year's sabbatical leave on coding. Then after that, I got a PC and then resumed. So basically, if you add, subtract, and it's close to like 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
3 to 4 years now. That's not considered a junior person
Yeah.
anymore. Once you have 3 to 4 years, that's very impressive what you've done. You know all the scripting languages on your stack. That's amazingly great. So now, the next question. I usually ask a lot of people these questions. Do you have any experience outside Nigeria, whether it's remote, with other groups that are doing the same thing you're doing in the IT, engineering, and all the rest of them? Have you worked with other groups?
Okay. No, not at the moment, but I'm actively seeking for an opportunity to collaborate, even if it's just on an open source project, just to get the feel of working with a distributed team. Yeah.
Okay, it seems like you're very, very ready and very, very enthusiastic about working with other groups wherever they are, so that you can gain that global experience. And that's something that we out here in the diaspora will have to think about and look
Yeah.
into, and showcasing talents like yours. So now the next question is: do you think
Yeah.
the youths who are in technology, preferably who are in software development, do you think they are ready
Yeah.
to take on the task in being a part of the global workforce? Do you think they are ready for that recognition?
Yeah. From my end here, yeah, I would say they are ready. Although we have a lot of monkey see, monkey do, and I don't know whether it's a thing of advantage or disadvantage in the sense that over here in Nigeria we are very good. I don't know if it's a good thing to say. We are kind of like good copycats, and when we copy, we tend to overdo it. And if that is an advantage, what it will mean is if we see a particular trend going on in the tech space, we get to hop in on it and outsmart or outdo those who are even like kickstarting the whole process. I don't know if you get my drift.
No, I do understand where you're coming from. So you're saying that the originality is lacking.
Hello?
They copy and they paste. Now, this is one of the reasons why we have the each one teach one group. So what we try to do is to encourage you, support you.
No.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So what we try to do is to encourage you
No,
to think.
what I mean is, I'm not talking about like
Go ahead.
what I'm trying to say is not the issue of copy and paste. Like copy and paste is kind of like generic. Like a lot of web developers do that. It's just that you just tweak what you're pasting so that it will suit the particular problem you're trying to solve. Because when I go online and online resources, I keep seeing that trend like repeating and repeating itself, where you just copy and then you now tweak it to suit the particular problem you're trying to solve. But what I'm trying to say is about monkey see, monkey do is that when a particular trend starts, like I'm looking for a very perfect example. Like when we started having um, um, tech startups like springing up like abroad and stuff like that. So when it all now started in Nigeria, we now see how fine tuned, like how we've like stretched it. Although there's a little bit of abuse here and there, but to a large extent, to what I'm seeing, and yeah, we are kind of like setting the standard in a way in Africa here. That kind of a thing. That's what
So
I mean.
so what you meant was you have the stream of tech startups abroad, and now all of a sudden
Yeah.
in the continent or in Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, there's a lot of stream of
Yeah.
tech startups all over the place. Is that what you're talking about? Like you
Y-
see a lot of strings of them. Is that a bad
Yeah.
thing, or like in the sense of having a stream of tech hubs all over the place? In my opinion, I don't think it's a bad thing. But if they are not organized to accomplish certain goals, it might be a problem. What's your take on that?
Yeah.
Are you?
I see it as a nice I see that as a nice
Mhm.
thing. I see that as a nice thing in the sense that we are trying to incorporate technology into every fabric of what we do as a society. For instance, I partnered with an agric tech startup, the first of its kind, and then they didn't plan very well. So this lockdown kind of like affected their operations and stuff like that, and they're like keeping their fingers crossed, like like if this lockdown gets to be done with, like we've already trashed out the issue of the coronavirus, then they are seeing how they could just pick up from there and stuff like that. But I know that that break which they've given, by the time they bounce back, they will have seen a very big competition, maybe outside Nigeria and stuff like that. So I see it as a good thing. It's just that they just need to be a little bit more organized. That's just it.
Yes, yes, you are right on point right there. So there's tech startups that are cropping up here and there in the continent need to be more organized. They need to have a plan of action, a stretch plan of action, not always thinking to get rich quick. They should be well organized, and most of the time, my understanding is that they are not well funded as well. I think that's
Yeah.
where the diaspora should come in. I hate to say anything about the government because they don't understand what they need to do, because most of the leaders are very old. They don't understand artificial intelligence. The digital era is here. They don't know nothing about that, and they don't care. So I push the responsibility to public sectors, and I push the responsibility to the diaspora. Myself, I have taken the role of a spokesperson for the youths in tech, and that's a big challenge on my part. And that's why I call on these interviews to get the perspective so that the people out here we have a clue what
Yeah.
they do or what not they do when they go on the ground to start off a business. The opportunity lies there. That's why everybody goes there, and because of that, the skill set need to be showcased, and the people need to understand the areas where the skill sets are, so that when they target to go in there and do business, they could be successful. Because one of the reasons, or one of the things that you just told us, is the organization not having that accurate management to proceed in any of the projects that's on the ground. We really appreciate you saying that. But I also would like to ask
Yeah.
you the last question here. The question being, have you noted any standard or any kind of standard, global standard, when it comes to the development? Do you use that? Have you seen it used? Do you think there need to be some sort of standard, whether it's systematic or methodical?
Okay. When it comes to, I want to get you correct. When you talk about standard, do you mean coding standards, stuff like coding convention, how things are supposed to be done and stuff like that, like procedures, like
When I say standard, I
something like that?
refer to organizations like National Institute of Standard and Technology. I refer to some of the
Okay.
open web application protocols. I'm referring to CIS.
Okay.
I'm referring to DoD. All those standard and
Mm-hmm.
protocols that they set up to help software developers or IT
Okay.
administrators, HR people, or server builders. As you know, there's Stig. Most of the people use Stig to harden their servers and stuff like that. So that's what I'm referring to, like the conventions that you have in software development. I think that could be a part of it as well. So, do you know of any of this? And can you tell us a little bit if it's being used, or there's no standard at all in the environment you work in?
Okay. Because of how democratized the IT sector is here, and I think it's same all over the world. I don't know if I'm right.
Yeah, it is the same all over the world. That
Um,
if you're doing the right thing, yes.
each Okay, so because of how democratized the IT sector is, each company have their own standard, like what they will see in a code, and they'll get to say, okay, this code is of standard as per in relation to the standard they have adopted. So if, for instance, you're working with a company that uses the Microsoft software stack, like stuff like C Sharp and VB.NET and stuff like that. They all have any person using that technology stack has to go with a particular coding standard, which is enforced by Microsoft themselves because they have a particular way they want you to write softwares. It's kind of like opinionated. Same with if you're a front-end developer and you're using a framework such as Angular JS, or sorry, Angular. Angular is strongly opinionated on the way you should write your code. And why they do that is so that able to work with, you'll be able to use their framework to work with like for a very long number of years. So with that being said, I feel the standard are usually tied to the company you are working with. So if you're working with, say, a company that uses React, they might say, okay, we don't use semicolons to close any statements in JavaScript. While you might go to another company, it's more or less like a laissez-faire attitude towards it. You might see them use a semicolon in some code. You might not see them use a semicolon in some code and stuff like that. So I see standards. However, it is peculiar to the company you work with.
Okay, I see your take on that. I see your take on that. Basically, I was trying to find out if they have something like software development lifecycle that you guys have to go through to have a secure code, and if you guys practice
Okay.
on that OWASP, all those vulnerabilities that is in there,
Okay.
that the code we need to be checked against that. So as we as
Okay.
we as we go on further with the interview and start developing our processes, it will help us a lot at this time. I really appreciate the effort you put in to tell
Mm-hmm.
us what's on the ground. I really appreciate your enthusiasm
Okay.
in helping us to understand the
Yeah.
groundwork. So in the future, we know we'll do better, and we know we do a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
So we thank you so much, Emmy Stevens, for
Yeah.
showing up here, and we will continue talking to
Yeah. It's
you.
my pleasure.
Now, for the viewers, you heard the
Okay.
man say it. You heard what he said. The opportunity is there. The skill set is right there. Think and figure out for yourself what you need to do. If you're new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. If you have already subscribed, like the video, subscribe, subscribe, share, and share. All right. Till next time, this is Each One Teach One. Josiah signing off. Take care, guys. Bye for now.